If you use Klarna, you do not have to pay the money back.
Just don't pay your loans back. You don't owe anybody anything anyway.
Not paying your Klarna debt almost feels like the new status symbol.
So today we're going to be taking a look at people who refuse to pay off their debt. We're going to be going over many different reasons on why they decided not to pay and the consequences down the road. We got the student loans, we have the credit cards, buy now pay later loans, car payments, we have it all. We also have some comments from you guys from previous videos, so if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's just kick this off with the good old-fashioned Klarna payments.
If you use Klarna, you do not have to pay the money back because the owners of Klarna are not in the United States. Why would you pay back someone who lives across the globe? Buy up all the you can right now with Klarna, okay? And what are the Swedish people even gonna do about it? They don't live in America. They can't do anything. They live in Sweden.
This is the perfect customer for Klarna because when it's all said and done and you don't make the payments and they end up suing you, they're going to take a lot more money than just some of the interest from those installment loans. We could take a look at some of the comments. The first one is an image of his brain being empty but his mouth being full. Just bought a house on Klarna. LMAO, your debt gets sold to the US Debt Collection Agency and your credit score tanks. Anything you say, boss man. So I guess his thought process is if they are not an American company, you don't have to pay them back. I mean, in that case, we should run over to the Toyota dealerships because apparently all the cars will be free then. But I mean, that's just the first example. We got a whole ton to go through today.
Just don't pay your loans back. You don't owe anybody anything anyway. You see, the money that you've taken out as a loan is yours. You created it. If people understood exactly how money works, you'd understand that you don't owe anybody any money. Like, let me ask you this question. When you take out a loan from the bank, where does that money come from? You see, we're sold this idea that when you take a loan out from the bank is somehow giving you something that they already own, and therefore you have to give it them back.
Before I say anything, let's look at the comments. My late fees and interest payments would beg to differ. Yes, don't pay them back. Just know that you'll never qualify for a mortgage, car loan, emergency, or personal loan, credit card ever again. You could add on top of that renting an apartment as well. People will look at your credit score for that. Even some jobs now want to take a look at where you stand before you get hired. As long as you're okay with those consequences, by all means, don't pay your loans. And what we're going to see in this video is a lot of the younger generation just becoming adults, 18 to 25, are doing just that, not thinking of the future at all. I guess they think doomsday is a lot closer than we all think and are honestly going to have a rude awakening down the road. Not once has this crap ever stood up in court. Just a very interesting way to start off of this video, but we have a comment from one of you guys. Teaching how credit works should be a mandatory class in high school, and I agree with that 100%. But now we'll head over to some of the student loan debt.
I will honestly admit that I don't think I've made a single payment on those student loans because I've had them.
Great. You don't feel responsible to pay back money you borrow?
It's not that, I guess.
Well, yes. Go on.
I don't have the degree for it. So I'm like...
Yeah, but you borrowed it. I don't have the degree. I'm paying on mine.
I know I borrowed it, but and it's not that I don't plan on paying it back. I just...
It's been over a decade.
I know.
From your most recent.
I know.
$20,576.
So if you're going on 10 years without a single payment, I'm going to say it was probably a safe bet that you weren't actually planning on paying them off. And the excuse is something that we've heard a lot on this channel. Either they ended up getting a degree, racking up a whole bunch of debt, and not getting a job in this terrible market to be able to sustain themselves along with paying it off. It kind of sounds like they ended up dropping out, not getting the degree, and just racked up to $20,000. But it also sounds like that's exactly what happened to Caleb Hammer as well, including myself. I am a community college dropout. Didn't even get an associate's degree, and also racked up $21,000 worth of student debt, basically just lighting it on fire. Complete waste of time. But I knew that there were consequences for what I did, and I will say I guess I'm lucky to only rack up $21,000 worth of debt instead of a lot of the six figures that we've been seeing online, but I did pay them back even though I basically got nothing in return.
I'm 23 and I'm in $300,000 of debt, and I'm not stressed about it. If I passed away tomorrow, that debt disappears. And honestly, as long as I can afford my daily Starbucks, I'm good. I am not stressing.
So again, we hear that excuse very similar to the doom spending. I could drop dead tomorrow. There's more to this particular creator with all of the debt, and she used the excuse that she didn't know what she was doing. She was just a girl, and all of those kind of tactics we've heard before, and ended up getting a lot of backlash for it. Surprise, surprise. But with her acting all nonchalant about it and not taking it serious at all, I thought it went well with a comment from one of you guys. This is my sister. We have a family business. It's so stressful having your finances intermingled with someone who's so financially illiterate and so stubborn. So this could start leaking into your family life, a lot of your relationships, not just hurting yourself and your credit score and all of that kind of stuff. It's hurting their family business. And the amount of examples that I saw online that were very similar to the last clip was just unreal. I got sent to collections for not paying my credit cards, and the description, I don't care, hashtag relatable, hashtag for you page, hashtag life and debt. The only comment under this clip, usually it'll be gone in 7 years depending on how much, as if 7 years of your life are just going to pass by in an instant, especially when it'll be very difficult to do almost anything with an ever-increasing cost of living. So I just want to put this into perspective. 7 years of your life is 2,555 days. At the time of recording, since I made my first video on this channel, it has only been 425 days. I honestly feel like I've been making these kinds of videos for such a long time now, and it's basically just been a little bit over a year. So imagine 7 years of your life being destroyed because you didn't pay off your loans, your credit card debt, it went to collections, you file for bankruptcy as a reset button, and then just wait out those 2,500 days. When you haven't paid your Klarna off and they start sending you letters. I thought this was particularly interesting because this clip was uploaded November 27th, 2020. I know the BNPL, the Klarna stuff has been very popular in the news over the past year, but there's been people not paying these debts off since COVID. What'll happen if you don't pay? Please answer, I want to know. The creator responds, I think if it gets too far, it affects your credit score and they could contact your bank? ? He doesn't even know. Another one right here, when you get letters from Klarna because I still haven't paid my bill. September 25th, 2020. Me, but with clear pay, I guess there's another one. Literally me last week, gotta love anti-Klarna. LOL, I use Klarna like I don't ever have to pay it back. Someone take it away from me, laughing emoji. Not people in these comments bragging about being in debt to buy clothes. At least there's somebody with a level head. Here's another one of the trends. You look happier now. Thanks. I gave up on paying my credit cards. And after 7 years, it'll come off your credit report. That comment was also hearted by the creator. I'll pay the minimum payment for the rest of my life before I give up my vacation money. Cabo comes first. I did this for 4 years and now I'm being sued. Oh, there's actual consequences? What? Another one, basically the same thing. You look happier. Yes, I stopped paying off the credit cards. Whatever happens, happens. And this person is a parent. They have children. This is an entire family account, which if you watch my second channel, I already don't like this type of content. Using your kids for attention and views, and also openly saying that you're just not paying off your debt while being responsible for a child's life. When I remember I have a bag of 72 credit cards in my closet and you literally can just not pay them back and nothing happens. I got sued for mine. Just wait. Top comment right there. Use one of them to go to therapy. I think you're manic. Don't do this. At least this comment section was more level-headed because this clip got 3.2 million views. Me, when I don't pay off my credit card bill for 6 months because I didn't think I had to pay anything above the minimum. And the audio to this clip was just the I'm just a girl trend that we've gone over several times. Me scrolling through TikTok, distracting myself so I don't have to pay my credit cards because I'm too scared to see how much I owe. There are so many more examples. There's an entire trend right here. I repeat, don't pay these. You could dispute these. Affirm, Klarna, MCM, all of the BNPL stuff. Another clip like this, Midland Credit Management Portfolio Recovery Associates, LVNV Funding, Enhanced Recovery. I mean, this guy just makes video after video doing basically the exact same thing. I just screen recorded it showing you how many different ones I found. And just one of the comment sections, as someone who works in payroll, 3 of these companies are the most common wage garnishments I see. And the clip up on screen we recently just saw on the bad TikTok advice video of a woman basically saying the same things, however, with car payments. You know, only make as many as you possibly can and get it repoed and just apply for another loan at a worse bank with a worse interest rate and get another car. Do it over and over again. I believe she said she had 3 repos, and I don't really have to tell you how absolutely terrible of a situation that could be when you start getting 30% interest rates on a car that's already overpriced. I probably could have made an entire video with just those types of clips, but we'll move on. We We got another comment from one of you guys. I was a bill collector for over 20 years, been out for over 15. It's always been about attitude. Unpaid credit card debt was always the people believing they deserved it for no reason other than someone else has it or does it and I want to also. Now with social media fakery and fake boasting, this problem has only multiplied exponentially. I 100% agree. Back in the 1990s, you weren't watching Mr. Beast videos or fake AI girls with $1,000 bags every second of the day. It's only making things worse, and a good portion of the time, the people that we're watching don't even have that kind of money. But with the lack of financial and economic knowledge, when it comes to Gen Z, the people who are using their phones the most, you could end up making some absolutely terrible decisions. I mean, let's look at this clip.
Asking this because I genuinely don't know how the economy works. So with everything going on and the recession that might happen, is there actually any point in me paying off credit card debt? Or should I just focus on like paying rent and paying the basics? I have no savings, so that's not the issue. I'm currently just living paycheck to paycheck, paying the bills, paying rent, paying off my credit cards. Should I just stop paying off my credit cards? That's my question.
And the first comment I see, if you aren't trying to move or rent something, just pay the minimum and let that 20 to 30% interest accrue every single month. Because I guess if we do go into a recession, everybody's debt just gets absolved, right? Isn't that the thought process? If you use your credit score at all, in parentheses, renting, like I said before, keep paying it. I don't know, but personally, I'm getting a new credit card to not pay off at this pace. Great choice there, man. You need credit to play the game. You cannot find a place to rent or even a car to rent. Pay your bills down, avoid interest, pay credit card bills on time every month. Another comment from you guys, I hate it when people say I'm a mortgage lender. Take this advice from me. And then all of their advice is how to get a mortgage from them. LOL, they hardly do anything. They're not banking geniuses. And I thought this was a good transition into a lot of other clips that I also found when it came to not paying debts off, having a whole bunch of loans. There are tons of videos just trying to sell you their business so they could also make money off of you.
Do not, and I repeat, do not pay any collection with your hard-earned money. You do not owe them anything. If you need help with your credit, let me know. Follow for more.
Let me know, follow for more, please use my business. And just look at this comment section. I need help, 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 more information, please help. The more you start looking up loans or being in debt on social media, the more accounts and sponsored posts you'll see like this.
Never ever pay your credit card on the due date. It won't improve your credit score.
Use my AI software instead. Credit Fixer, the AI credit repair software. So I guess you can't even have a human being trying to help people with their credit score. It needs to be artificial intelligence now. With all the problems and issues that's brought in recently. Here's another one of the clips with somebody using debt to be able to make higher returns and more money as if it's really that easy.
Why you should stop paying off all your debt. Debt is okay. It's the cost of money. If I can get $100,000, $200,000, $1 million at really cheap money, like 3, 4, 5. 5 is like my limit because I know how to put money to work at 15, 18, 20. That's called an arbitrage. So if I can get the money, yes, I might be $100,000 in debt. But if I put it to work at 15, I'm making 10%, 12% on that money. Basically, $100,000 in debt can create $12,000 of new money to me.
Okay, so I'm not saying that this is not possible. Some people can do this, but a lot of the people who would be looking up and watching TikToks like this are probably also the ones that see people who have the Turo empire. They end up buying a fleet of vehicles to rent out and apparently make this super easy money off of Turo. And that just really is not the case anymore in 2025. Same story with all the influencers making it look like flipping houses is very quick and easy. Just get a loan for the money you don't have to flip the house or buy the vehicles to rent them out, and yeah, you'll double your money right away. It'll be super easy, and that's just not what happens in a majority of the cases. So I think listening to that kind of advice, especially if you don't really know what you're doing, can be extremely dangerous. And also goes with a comment from one of you guys. Kids, the 10% returns on the stock market aren't guaranteed, but the interest rate on your loans and credit cards are. Think about it. Because we also saw an example very similar to the last clip. Say she did get a loan for $100,000 with a 5% interest rate. Well, the stock market averages a 10% return every year, so just stick that $100,000 into the S&P, you'll get a 5% return, be able to pay back the loan, and you're getting money for free, right? But that return in the stock market is not concrete. We've seen both good and bad years since COVID, so just taking this advice at face value can end up destroying you financially.
This is just a reminder that if a company you owe a debt to has sent that debt to collections, never pay that debt to the company. Never attempt to make payments on that debt to the original company because they no longer own that debt. And the second they sold that debt to a collections company, you were also relinquished from having to pay them. Because essentially how that debt collection system works is that eventually when they call you, the original company calls you, emails you, sends you letters about paying that debt, eventually they're just gonna give up. And they're gonna say, okay, we're not gonna get this money back on our own. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sell your debt to a third-party company. And we're gonna say, if you are successful in retrieving that money, you give us back X%, but you keep the bulk of it. And by that definition, by that sale, the debt collection company now owns that debt. Now, if you want to pay the debt collection company, that is your prerogative, yes or no. But what these companies will do is they will still continue to send you those letters, emails, and phone calls about paying the debt to them. But if you then try and pay the debt to them, they will happily take your money, but legally speaking, your debt is still open to the third-party collections company.
So we'll just go straight to the comments after that. Yeah, I got sued, so be careful. How much should you owe? I had this happen to me too. Same. I live in Northern California. They can and will sue you and take money out of your paycheck. So yes, be careful on how you want to go about it. I've been sued, so I don't believe any of this. You should probably start off with this applies to the US. Debt collection is very different in Canada. No, they don't give up. I get calls numerous times a day by the same company for almost 2 years. Once though, it went far enough that the debt collector actually sent an officer out with paper to garnish my wages for 3 months. Yeah, but I have something in collections that keeps me from buying a home. It's coming up during the housing counseling and bringing my credit score down. I've been served by a debt collector though, came to my house at 9 p.m. There is a lot of comments like that in this section. So people, I guess, don't believe that they'd be taken to court for this debt. I guess they think that they would just give up after calling for a couple weeks or a few months, and that is just not the case. They want their money. Another comment from you guys, there's no sense of relief like having next month's rent or mortgage set aside, the electric and phone bill paid, and then getting a paycheck and owing nobody. It's totally worth it. And unfortunately, it looks like some of the people we've seen in this video will never know that feeling, because apparently not paying your debt is a status symbol now.
Not paying your Klarna debt almost feels like the new status symbol. More and more people are being forced into overdraft and debt just to be able to afford having fun on the weekend. And fun is the new luxury. There's like a collective activism and everyone just being like, you know what? No, I'm not going to pay you back. And I'm not going to let you shame me.
Again, until they take you to court and garnish your wages. Maybe your car that you have finally ends up dying and you have to buy something new. Whether it's brand new or used, you're most likely still going to have to get a loan. And if your credit score is destroyed, you have bills sent to collections, that is not going to be a pretty sight. Slippery slope until you're 10,000 plus in credit card debt and nobody will save you. But I guess fun comes first. Very similar to the doom spending videos I've made on this channel. Another comment from you guys from an older guy, not paying your debts will affect you in the long term in ways that are not immediately apparent. Lots of things geared to your credit score, higher insurance cost, harder to rent an apartment, good employers with job openings will run a credit check. Many things in life will become harder and stay that way for a long time. You've dug a hole that you will never get out of. And there are some people who are just crashing out, going on debt strikes and losing it on TikTok.
You know what? Okay, I know I'm insane and I know I'm the internet's favorite crash out. What I'm gonna say right now is I'm not paying my debt anymore. What we're doing from this point forward is a debt strike 2025. If I have to do it alone and be insane, I will. I literally will. The fact that we would continue paying our debt, we can't stop paying our rent because that's too crazy. It'll put a lot of people in harm. I'm sick of protesting. It does nothing. I don't want to go to war because look how skinny my arms are. We have to do something. I'm not paying my debt. You can join me on this or you cannot.
I mean, I know I'm saying the same things over and over again, but the only thing that's going to happen is that your life is just going to become worse. I think this comment from you guys also goes well with this. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a wage garnishment, car repo, collections, and credit card frozen by the banks to make people realize what kind of trouble they're really in. Because a lot of these types of clips, I'm not paying debt, is from young people, haven't really been in the real world for too long, not really thinking long term what's going to happen in 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, we have a perfect example right here.
Why are you not paying them?
Because why would I?
No, like if it starts back up, if none of them are forgiven.
I mean...
You'll just not pay them?
Yeah.
And that hurts your credit? You don't care?
Yeah.
It might go to collections and people could come after you and potentially
Yeah.
sue you. You do not care.
No.
It sounds very easy to not care when you're 20 or 22 years old, but when you're in your 30s or 40s and you're still in the same position that you were when you're 20, I feel like a lot of these people will start to think differently, but they will be very deep in the hole that they dug. A couple comments back to back from you guys: don't pay your debts, see what happens to your credit score. Everyone has a plan until they don't. They'll garnish yours, and if you're married, spouse's paycheck by 25% till it's paid in full. So this goes into the next clip where it affects more than just yourself.
Did you hear about the man who's considering calling off his whole wedding because his fiancée refuses to sign a prenup after he found out that she has massive credit card debt?
So if you're on this path of reckless spending and not paying any of your debt, this can definitely affect your future relationships because, I mean, who would want to bring in all that financial baggage into their life? This is not a one-off story either. There are many like this online where they'll decide to not marry this person because the debt will become their problem as well. Same when we're talking about the dating scene as well. If you're not on the same page financially, there is a very large percentage down the road you would end up breaking up or divorcing. But I guess there are a lot of people who are only living in the moment and only really caring about what's happening right now.
Okay, so I've been getting a lot of comments like that. And I want to address it because I know it's all fun and games and we laugh about it like, oh, I don't really care about a credit score. Like, I got more problems in my life than a credit score. But the reason I'm making this is because credit is really important. You don't just need it to buy a house. You need it if you're trying to get an apartment, if you're trying to get a car. Car insurance right now is insanely high. And guess what? They use your credit score for that. A lot of jobs, especially in the financial industry, they look at your credit like they do. You may not see it. There's a whole other report on your credit report that's for soft inquiries, and it won't show you on like Credit Karma or something. That's why I always say, look at your full credit report. You would be surprised. Sometimes even your utilities will check to see where your credit is at.
But no matter how many videos you make, some people are just stuck in their own ways. But in the larger picture, the empire is collapsing. The systems are failing. It's all made up for control. I feel like people have been talking like this since basically the beginning of time. So I mean, I guess you can't help everybody, but hopefully this was eye-opening to at least some people out there. You're most likely going to live a lot longer than you think, especially if you're in that YOLO mindset and thinking about the country and all these governments are going to collapse in the immediate future. I don't know, that type of doomer mentality seems to only hurt people's lives. But that's all I got for you guys today, and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.